we, of course, got married, and 20 some odd years later, we're still going. But so I owe that to the law department as well. Great experience, and I found my wife and started my family. So
absolutely.
It was a great experience. So then from there, I just thought maybe now I can go back to a larger firm. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and
so you felt, so did you actually resign from the city first before you looked, or was there, how did that work out? I mean, well, because it's a fairly major change from what it sounds like.
I'll tell you very briefly.
Sure.
What happened. I was on a very big case in Staten Island, which is one of the 5 boroughs of the city of New York. This position let you go all over the 5 boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
That was one good thing about it. Every other lawyer in our different units were assigned to boroughs, so they only worked out of one particular borough, either Manhattan or Brooklyn or the Bronx. Sometimes even you were assigned to one particular judge, so you tried all your cases in front of this judge. But this position let me go all over the place, which was great, because I met a lot of different lawyers, a lot of different judges. So I was commuting at that time, I wasn't married yet, from the Bronx to Staten Island. It was a very big case.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I was winning the case. And for some reason, I'm in the middle of this trial. We are 3.5 weeks into this trial. Now here I am every day. I'm bringing 2 dollies of files on the subway, on the ferry, up the courthouse steps, into the courtroom. The plaintiff's lawyer is coming to limousine every day.
You were schlepping it,
right.
And they were just coming, oh, that's a big contrast.
Right,
huh?
Sure, telling me I'm working too hard. And I was doing very well. Everybody agreed the case was going my way. And then all of a sudden the higher-ups decided they wanted to settle the case.
No kidding.
And they settled the case without really even asking me.
They didn't consult you.
They didn't consult me. So I was in the middle of the trial, and right while I'm doing this witness, who was really helping our case, the witness was going great, someone brings a note to the judge, and the judge says, stops the trial, the case is settled. So I said, how's that possible? You see me here in front of you. I took the subway, the ferry back to Manhattan.
What about all the paperwork?
With all the files. So I got all the files. And I asked what happened. I said, look, we decided that it was too big a risk. I was winning this case. I couldn't believe it. It was very disappointing. And I gave 2 weeks' notice right in that day.
So you were pretty flustered about this.
I felt that I needed to be in a place where I was part of the decision-making process, not just a soldier.
Right.
Going out on the front lines and taking the heat of the battle.
Right.
And not being able to direct, where I was being sent or what I was doing. And I felt that I had certainly earned that, considering the types of cases I had been handling. And I said, you know what? I think it's time to move on, because if you could trust me with this firm, with this file,
right,
this case, but at the same time, all of a sudden just pull the rug out from under me. And when we spoke to the jury afterwards, I was right. It was going in our direction.
And you were living and breathing this case. It sounded like if you're trucking this stuff, so it was part of your life.
Sure, and not only that. I mean, it was
on government wages,
on government wages, out of personal pride, just
absolutely.
Which is the other thing you need to be when you litigate. You need to say, I don't want to lose. You don't ever want to lose. So that's when I said, you know what, I got to move on. And it actually informed my decision where to go, because, as I was saying before, I started thinking, well, now maybe I can go and cash it in, right?
Right.
I've got the litigation experience. I still have the great background, law school grades and all that. Maybe now I can go to those firms that were looking for me.
Get a little bit of a pay raise along the way.
A little bit of a pay raise, right. Certainly,
I'm sure none of our viewers will be upset for that.
Well, exactly. So then I said, well, no, that's just trading one big institution for another big institution.
That's a good point.
It's going to be the same thing. I'm going to be better paid soldier. Okay, guaranteed. But that may turn into them thinking I'm going to need to take more stuff. Because hey, we're paying you well. Don't complain. Do what we tell you to do.
That is actually the mindset. If they pay you a lot at a lot of corporate, you say, "What are you complaining about?"
Don't complain.
Right.
Right. And so I said, you know what? I want input.
Yeah.
I want to be able to make decisions and not just follow orders. I have no problem following orders,
Right.
but I felt I had enough experience. Time is right. I'm going to try to go find a place where I can maybe build something from the ground up, or a smaller firm where I can have an immediate impact. I even thought about just hanging out a shingle, but I knew that we want to have children. We're starting to raise our family. I knew that that was not going to really be an option.
Well, I really think that these issues that you're bringing up and why you made the changes, I think a lot of our viewers will perfectly understand, because our viewers are primarily entrepreneurs and small business people. So,
right.
I mean, they can definitely relate to you wanting to call the shots. I mean, that's why entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs. They don't always do it for the pay. In many cases, becoming an entrepreneur, you actually get a pay cut for many, many years.
Right, because you decide to do what you love.
Exactly.
And you want control over it.
Exactly.
Right. And you want to
so I think I think our audience definitely relates to that.
Well, I hope so, because it also helps me understand their situations and their cases so much better. Because what I ended up doing, now, I took a job at a very small firm at the time. It was 2 lawyers working out of a small house in Long Island, and that's the place that I'm at today. So
that's still a very entrepreneurial endeavor, isn't it?
Exactly, because at that time they only did criminal defense, and they said we want to expand beyond criminal defense into civil litigation.
Mm-hmm.
And I met with them, I interviewed with them, and I said, these guys are interested in growing the practice from the ground up. They have a very good, solid practice in criminal defense. They don't know anything about civil practice at all.
You saw an opportunity.
I said, this is a good place to start. And I'm not even so sure that if you would have asked me then, that I would be 20 years later at the same firm. I joined them in 1990.
Right.
And here we are in 2009, so 19 years.
Yes.
At the same place. We've grown since then, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the firm has really developed. And it was great because right from the beginning, I was able to decide what kind of cases we should take, how do we set up the forms for client interviews. I mean, we really developed it right from the beginning. And my partners, certainly gave me the freedom to do that. And I, again, talk about the entrepreneurial spirit, also knew that it wasn't going to be, oh great, we'll bring somebody in, we'll throw the light on in his office, and then the checks will start coming in. They knew it took a while to build a business,
right,
and that cases would have to start flowing in, and that a lot of money would be laid out initially for costs and advertisement, staff, and they were committed to it. So they took a chance on me, and it mutually paid off for all of us. And over the years, the firm has grown and expanded into a number of different areas. So I think that certainly helps me relate to a lot of my business clients, my small business clients in particular, my startup clients.
Right.
I have been there. We have had situations at the firm with economic downturns. If people don't think that law firms and lawyers are affected by that, they're crazy, particularly even huge firms, large firms are affected by that. So we've had situations, 9/11, where New York firm had a very big impact on our practice, where we've grown, we've had to come down, we've developed new areas, and we've been able to not only survive, but succeed really through all of these different economic phases. And I know just from talking to clients and relating some of these stories with them when they're telling me what they're going through, so, we've been there, we can help you, we have some creative ideas, and we can certainly help you get through this. And I also know when you're starting up a business, one of the things that can derail you the quickest is if you get a claim or some kind of litigation that all of a sudden you have to defend against. It presents a lot of problems.
The one thing I'd like to bring up for our audience is that to me there is very much a difference between a corporate attorney and more of an entrepreneurial attorney, such as yourselves. I mean, you went through some setbacks along the way with the firm. Obviously, you're doing very, very well now, and but these corporate attorneys, they don't really take it to pride. But as I was talking to you, we were talking about your business and your law firm. You really take it to heart. I mean, you really do care because it's your name, and you always want to do right by them. Sometimes, you know, clients aren't always happy.
That's right.
And you do what you can, and I'm just, it's amazing to me the contrast, because I had dealt with an attorney that was corporate, wasn't very competitive, you know, she was just drawing a check, and I was stunned of the attitude.
Right.
You know, and she didn't seem to have a clue as far as the business end of it either.
Right.
It's amazing the diversity, you know, out there.
Yeah, well, absolutely.